Hi, my beautiful Pisces friends. I am so excited to be back with you. I took the month of February off from doing the 12 sign readings as I was doing a really big move in my life. And so it's so exciting to be back. I really missed having the chance to just connect in with the energy and check in with it and explore it. And so it's so fun to be back. And it's so fun to be back during this super powerful, potent Pisces season. Happy birthday to all you beautiful Pisces suns out there. Pisces energy is some of my favorite energy to spend time in and float around in. And as I get older and as I just keep moving through this life, I find myself coming more and more into Piscean energy and exploring it and playing with it. So I'm so excited to be here with you all. This Pisces season is so beautiful. This is the Pisces season with Jupiter moving through your sign. And so this is going to be an amplified Pisces season in many ways because the sun will be meeting up with Jupiter during Pisces season. The sun will also be meeting up with Neptune as it does every year. And we have this beautiful new moon in Pisces. So Pisces season is about transmutation. It is about recalibration to some of the new energies we're working with in the year of 2022. It's such a gorgeous 2022 so far, super, super potent. And so Pisces, this being your season, this being a time when the energy is really heightened, Piscean energy is going to be really heightened. We'll have the sun moving through Pisces, Jupiter, Neptune, Mercury moving through Pisces for most of the month. So we're working with a ton of energy in your sign. So this is a really, really great time to tune in, retune, re-examine, come home to yourself and just simplify. We're not needing to look for 100 ingredients, right? And 100 actions we need to take in order to exist and to be worthy and to have everything in alignment. There's something about this Pisces season specifically for Pisces that is about simplification. I think so often we're taught we kind of need these complex plot lines and complex brews of ingredients in order to be worthwhile, to be interesting, to have interesting projects, to be allowed to exist. Excuse me. But this Pisces season for Pisces is going to be about just being yourself. Just being yourself, just being, right? And realizing that in coming home to that, you have plenty. There's so many things you can do with that, right? It's such an easy thing to forget because we're taught to look for ourselves outside of ourselves in buying things and taking action and finding approval from other people, whatever it is, right? And so this is extremely empowering energy. Now, I've been doing a lot of readings so far for the month of March, and I'm noticing that in general, this is a month also of healing and reconnecting and understanding and letting go of what it is we've just been through the last couple of years. So I think for you, Pisces, this is going to be a really great time to recharge and reset. I also think Piscean energy is important in 2022 in general. And so it sets the tone. So it's also just about enjoying and amplifying who and what you are, right? Judgment. This card is just loving its time in the sun. That is a card of healing and release and grace, and finding empowerment in allowing ourselves to release and let go a little bit. I don't really worry. I feel like Pisces is the mutable water sign. You understand the flowingness of certain things. Page of Cups. But I also know Pisces pretty well, and there's a desire for excellence and high quality and doing things really, really purely and full of spirit. And that high standard can sometimes hold you hostage too. So it's okay to let go of the idea of who you think you need to be. It's okay to let go of what you think you need to hold on to and keep everything together. Knight of Pentacles. Okay. I pulled 3 cards from my main deck, and now I'm going to pull a final card from my Oracle of the Hidden Worlds. I love this deck. This deck makes me think of Piscean energy so much. It is just beautiful. The Mirror. Oh my goodness. I love this card. Other lives, past lives, dimensional lives. This is an important one when it comes to generational healing and pattern breaking. Super, super important. All right. So let's get into these cards. And I didn't even get into Aries season. So Pisces season, super powerful, very potent Piscean energy moving through. And that Pisces new moon, which is happening on March 2nd, is going to be primo. I'm so excited for it. Then we move into Aries season. Oh, and we have a full moon in Virgo in your opposing sign on the 18th, which is going to be so beautiful. One of my best friend's birthdays is on March 18th, actually. And then we move into Aries season, right? So this is second house energy of your worthiness, of how you take care of yourself, of like how you value yourself in the world. So it goes back to that. You don't need to value yourself based on your accomplishments or your approval rating. It's about something deeper inside. So let's get into these cards because it's a really interesting mix. Okay, Judgment is an important energy that is coming through for me in general during this Pisces season. Because on the collective level, this is about giving grace to what we've just been through and some of the weight we have been carrying. So whatever weight, grief, experience you are carrying on your shoulders, or you are feeling in your body, or you are feeling you have moved through, that's all totally valid. And I'm not here to say, whatever, who cares, we're all moving on. I think what Judgment is really about, this card, so funny, it's called Judgment because it's the opposite of Judgment, it's not about holding judgment, holding court over yourself all the time and saying, well, we need to have this punishment or this amount of reflection on it. It's about saying, yeah, like I've been through those things, but they don't necessarily need to be the defining containers all the time. They don't necessarily need to be the things that define the day, and I don't necessarily need to carry them the same all the way through my life forever and ever. Judgment is about helping us find some grace and some ease and some peace, and making peace with ourselves, our past selves, how we handled things, making peace with maybe how other people handled things, and just finding grace in that. And that is such a freeing thing. And this is one of the important elements of this Pisces season. And I know, like, for me, Pisces energy is so dreamy, it's so floaty, it's so beautiful. It can help just get into creative spirit and easy spirit. But I think Pisces energy is also so important for healing. And there is a serious side to it. But here's the other thing. I think we so often in our culture, I think, want to, not just Pisces, but like everybody, right? We so often want to skip to the good stuff. We just want to be in daydreamy, fun, floaty space. But if we don't give ourselves grace, who we've been in the recent past, the long ago past, we don't give grace to other people, we aren't ever going to really be able to enjoy floating around in the current moment, are we? So it's so important that we do that, because that gives us greater access to our dreamy spirits. And then we've got some great bringers of information. Okay, let's start with Page of Cups, right? So Page of Cups is a really beautiful news bringer. This is such a perfect Piscean energy. He has a fish and a cup. He's often associated with getting a really good phone call from a family member or friend with great news, a great opportunity. This is about something being offered up to you, Pisces, whether that's a new relationship or a deepening of a relationship, or a great reason to celebrate, or a beautiful artistic project, or a sense of something opening and flourishing. Page of Cups is a really fresh offering. And I love that Page of Cups is showing up after Judgment, because as we forgive, as we give grace to ourselves, right, we create space for Page of Cups to offer us something. And I think that's the other thing that I'm noticing about Pisces season this year and this March, is about everybody allowing themselves to receive grace and help. I think we think we're allowing ourselves to receive grace and help. I think we often think, yeah, I'm doing it. And yet we aren't really relaxing into it. So Page of Cups is about receiving something beautiful, new chapters beginning. Then that's followed up by this Knight of Pentacles. And this is so funny. He has shown up so much for March readings, which I find so fascinating. I think the Knight of Pentacles is an often misunderstood energy. Of course, this can be energy that's slow moving to a fault. But because we are so, as a culture, right, in this world, there's a lot that's to do with movement and moving, and that being the number one thing that shows that we are invested in life and worthy of life and doing something and having a place and being worthy of existing. That we get really uncomfortable with energies like Knight of Pentacles at an unconscious level, because he's saying there's something to listen to when we sit still for a moment. There is value, there is understanding. And what happens when we do that is we're actually able to move in ways that feel truer to us. And so the Knight of Pentacles is a reminder that while it may seem like the elements themselves, like maybe we're not having like every single dream of our lives pop together in 1 month, maybe in some ways things might appear to be moving slowly, might appear to even be standing still. That is just an illusion, because when we take the time to be present in our bodies, and Pisces, this is about getting grounded. It's about coming back into the body a little bit, listening in, paying attention, being in tune with your surroundings. What happens is we get to deeper truth faster. We get to deeper knowing faster. And then what happens? We take very decisive, deliberate, clear actions that line up with it. And therefore, when movement happens, it makes sense, it's simple, it's straightforward, and it's true. It's true movement through the world, right? So we're not wasting all of that energy and time making a whole bunch of movements, and 90% of them are kind of like neither here nor there nor anywhere and don't really ever matter. And then we have that little 10%. This is about just resting enough to take action that matters. And I know you guys are going to be in with me on that one, because I just know. So we have really beautiful, hopeful energy here. It's about grace. It's about forgiveness, especially forgiveness of self. I just want to make that clear. It's about the forgiveness of self. It's about forgiving yourself for how you've moved through anything, and beyond forgiving yourself, loving on yourself, remembering you've done the best you could. But here's where it really gets interesting with this reading, my friends, because this deck, Oracle of the Hidden Worlds, is such an interesting deck. It always takes us to somewhere really interesting. In this case, you got the Mirror, which is about other lives, past lives, and dimensional lives. So this is about and whenever this card shows up in a reading that I'm doing, it's so interesting to me, because the first thing I think about is patterns. And the patterns that we live just in the day-to-day in this life, the patterns we live via the generations handing things down to us. And depending on how you view time, existence, lives, the patterns that come through multiple lifetimes. All of these things can have familiar patterns in them. And some of those patterns can be beautiful. Maybe they're a pattern that you really, really love and like to see flourish and continue. But a lot of times with familiar patterning, there's a limit to how good they are for us, right? They're especially when we're thinking about repeated cycles, right? In generations and past lives, in just the way that we handle things in our life being handed down from us from past generations. This is a card that asks us to look in the mirror, right? And if there is a cycle that we are holding, if there is a pattern, a familiar routine that we are holding that is hurting us, this is a great time to be able to see it and understand it, so that we can release it, so that we can start to take steps a little differently and create new patterns, right? We love the familiar. We are wired biologically to look for familiar things that denote knowing that we'll be safe. But a lot of times familiar equates to, dysfunctionality. I mean, not all the time, but the mirror is always a hard look at those things, but it's just so liberating, right? It's like when you realize that you have a generational hand-me-down, that's kind of what I call it, about a work ethic or about what makes you valuable, right? And it's just so deeply in there, it feels like a absolute truth. And yet when you really look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have to work that extra hour at the end of the day, because if I don't deserve to live. I don't deserve to be in this life. I feel so guilty for being sensitive and floaty and exploratory secretly inside, because nobody's ever told me that it's okay to be that. And so I work extra hard because everybody told me that that was how I was going to get my value, right? That can be an example of a hand-me-down that we carry with us, right? We carry it on our backs, and it actually affects the way that we feel about ourselves and our value in the world. So, unsurprisingly, this Pisces season in this March is anything but shallow. This is going to be all about getting to some really, really deep healing, some really, really deep release. And Pisces, you definitely got some deep stuff going on here. But what keeps coming up time and again, every reading I've been doing, is that if we're willing to sit still long enough to hear ourselves, look in the mirror, forgive ourselves, and hear what our hearts are truly wanting, this month is going to be one of such great, brilliant healing, such great, brilliant connection, such great, brilliant play. These things are not mutually exclusive. They're bound really together. And the more that we're willing to welcome that deep absolution and release and forgiveness, the more we're going to be playing, the more we're going to be welcoming in the gifts that want to come in. So this is just a really beautiful cosmic time. I'm going to be offering up tons of extra support on my Patreon. It's such a beautiful little community, and I would love to see you over there. We hang out every single week. You can also find me on my Instagram. There's only one true Sarah Vrba, so I'll leave my handle below. And you can also find me on my website and my email. I hope you'll stick around here. I'd love to see you here again, my beautiful friends. Let me know how Pisces season is going for you. I love you, beautiful Piscean souls, so, so much. You have no idea how much you've taught me in this life so far, and I can't wait to see what else I learn. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. Happy birthday, Pisces.